Okay, this is my first video. This is just basically this is an instructional video on the car packs that we have packed and put in the cars for emergency purposes. We're looking at seasonal, so the packs will change throughout the seasonal. There'll be different things taken in and out depending on the season. Right now, this is a winter pack out. These were basically set up so that you could shelter in place in the vehicle or near the vehicle if some problem were to arise. It's also can be used if you have to leave the vehicle. Just some items to basically help you get back to emergency services or rescue or whatever you need. So we'll start off. Basically, this is an old Army surplus Alice pack. They're really cheap. They're almost bulletproof, and you can get them fairly inexpensively. Basically, it's an Alice pack with a frame just to help support the weight if you do have to pack out of the vehicle. I have some things added to it. And the great thing about the Alice pack is you can put basically everything you need in it, on it, around it. If you shelter in the vehicle, it's a good place to have everything in one spot. We keep these in the trunk. I have a larger one in my truck, but it keeps everything in one spot, all put together with the exception of the water that you should bring with you. And I did not bring in, like, for example, we've got walking sticks and jumper cables and all the other typical things you would need in your vehicle. And again, like I said, we do carry water. We also have the ability to procure more water if need be, but this keeps everything in a nice, neat little pack. So first thing I'm going to start off with is the Alice pack. I've made a set of instructions. And the Alice pack has this nice feature. It has a map case inside the hood. And what I've done is I simply have an inventory of what's in the bag, pretty much what's in each pocket. Plus I can add, like I've downloaded tips from AAA and some of the insurance, different insurance institutes on what to do if you're stranded in your car, or how to deal with that situation. So basically, the map case is a good place to store information. It's usually the first thing I tell everybody. First and foremost, pull this out, and this will tell you everything that's in the pouch and where it's at, so you don't have to go digging through everything. We'll start out with the outside of the pack. The bottom of the Alice pack this is a wool blanket, and these are about $8, I believe, from Harbor Freight. They do have them on sale. You do have to wash them because they come out of Harbor Freight smelling like gasoline. But wash them a couple times, hang them outside to air dry. They're very similar to the old Army blanket, but they're 80% wool, which will keep you warm. It'll provide a nice insulating layer. Wool, unlike a lot of other synthetics, will help retain heat even when it's wet. I know a lot of people are iffy about wool blankets because they're itchy, but if you throw it on over another layer, what have you, it will insulate you. It'll help keep you warm. Even if it does get wet, it'll help retain some of that heat. And they're relatively inexpensive. Like I said, this is Harbor Freight. I think these cost me about $8 a piece. And every time I hear that they have them on sale, that's where I go. Attached to the outside of the attached to the outside of the bag, like I said, normally it'd have the trekking poles, which are just two hiking poles. They're good to help you with when you're hiking, but they're also good if you have to set up a shelter or whatnot. You can go on the internet and find a lot of tarp configurations on using trekking poles and a simple Walmart tarp to create a shelter. Didn't go so much into that because I don't have a a full camping shelter setup with this bag. It's not the ideal for a vehicle situation. I would prefer sheltering in the car, sheltering near the car, because 9 times out of 10 they'll find the car before they find you trekking off somewhere. So the idea is make your stay in the vehicle a lot more survivable and a lot easier. Also attached to the outside, I have a carabiner. You can put, you can take this off. It's basically got a steel whistle. Whistle's good because you can hear it over a longer distance than you could screaming and hollering. 3 blasts on the whistle. It's an SO. It's a distress code or distress call. But this whistle will carry, the sound of the whistle will carry for days. The other thing I have attached to the bag is I have a small hatchet with a hammerhead. If you need to gather branches or firewood or such, if you need to make a fire outside the vehicle. It's just a helpful tool, and it's also got a hammer head if you need to drive a stake into the ground. Like I said, if you were to want to build a shelter or something like that, you need a method of driving stakes into the ground. This one, this particular hatchet, homemade, but it's just a small bladed hatchet. It's good for delimbing and whatnot. You can use it to cut down small branches and what have you. Also makes a good defense tool. It's kind of the idea behind a tomahawk. It's got multiple functions. And this you won't find in a store because I forged this out of an old hammer. But again, a nice small hatchet to use as a multi-tool. So that's what's on the outside of the pack. Now I've got the pack divided up because it's an Alice pack. You have 3 main outside pouches, and then you have the main inner pouch. So I'm going to start with your main pouches, and what I've done is I've marked them. The first thing I do is wherever my first aid kit is going to be, I try to put that in the most accessible space possible. Here I try to always put it in the center, and I'll label it. This one the carabiner has a nice orange tie to it. I've written first aid on the strap. You just pop this loose, and here you have inside is first aid kit. I also have a metal cup if you need to make hot water. These are great. This is an old canteen cup. I think it's Polish or Swedish or something, but it's just a simple metal cup that you can hold over a candle if you need to melt snow or if you want to boil some water. It's just a good idea to have with you if you have a place where you can make a small fire. If you have a questionable water source, you can always boil water. Can't go wrong with boiling water to purify it. So in that center pouch is the metal cup. Now this is the first aid kit. It's pretty extensive, but what I've always done is when I go through my kit, I check it and make sure there are things that are necessary and things maybe not. But I've gone through this one and some additions. I've put some ibuprofen in, a couple other, just adjusted the bandages. Here has some Sting Bite. I've got Purell, some hand sanitizer, plus everything else that came with the pack. This kit also has tweezers. There are some medications. It also has a space blanket. These little folding ones they're not that sturdy, but they'll do great as far as heat retention. There's like 101 uses for a Mylar space blanket. You can use it for signaling if you need to cut strips of it, hang it up on trees to get somebody's attention. Mostly it's for retaining your body heat. So that is the center first aid kit. Pardon me while I throw the first aid kit around my living room. So we'll put that back. I also have an elastic bandage. This will come in handy It's designed for wrapping sprains, wrapping joints, what have you. But if you have a wound that you need to put pressure on to stop bleeding, this is really good to go over gauze or, believe it or not, a lot of my first aid kits I try to put at least one or two feminine pads, basically to control bleeding because that's what they're designed for. And this will help if you have to do a bandage. This will help keep your bandage in place. So that is the first aid pouch. Let's see, we'll start over here with pouch number 3, and I really should have these labeled. Haven't done that yet. Pouch number 3, basically for winter time, I have an assortment of hand warmers. Basically, these are just air-activated hand warmers. Probably get 5 to 7 hours depending on the hand warmer itself, but it's just handy to have something you can, if you're on a street or if you're on a road and you know that there's going to be somebody along beforehand, you can use these and help improve your situation. Also, I have in a Ziploc bag, there is a scarf, a hat, and a change of socks, and I do believe I have a pair of gloves. You got a scarf, extra set of gloves, an extra wool hat, and an extra pair of socks. So that'll keep you, if your feet get wet, your hands get cold, just extra insulating layers. This is just an old GI's scarf. Basically, it's just a cotton scarf, but it'll add layers. The other good thing too with these Ziploc bags, they come in handy if it's wintertime and you say your water, 9 times out of 10, if your water's in the trunk, it's going to be frozen. But you can take the Ziploc bag, fill it full of snow, and throw it. If your dashboard is up in the sun, you can actually fill this full of snow, throw it on the dashboard, and let the sun melt it down, and just keep replenishing it until you end up with a bag full of drinking water. The great thing about snow is as long as you get good, clean, pristine snow, you don't have to purify it. It's already been done for you. So this is the accessory pouch. Now the third pouch I have, this is just some other handy things to have. Not necessarily in any particular order, but I have a couple pouches in here. I'll pull those out and kind of discuss what's going on. Okay, first off, inside the pouch I have some chem lights if it's dark. These are good. You may have road flares in your car. We have road flares in our vehicle. However, if you're in a wreck or if you come upon a wreck and there's gasoline or such, chemical lights will not ignite burning gas. They're good for a couple hours in the wintertime. In the wintertime, you won't get as long out of these as you would think. But again, these are handy fire lights to signal to put out on the road. And again, these are good because they don't have any kind of combustion. I also have one of these battery operated lights. It has a flashlight and a red beam and a signal red beam. So again, the idea is to be seen. Also in here, just as not necessarily critical, but we have like a small sewing kit. I have a couple of donuts of 550 cord. These are done up as donuts to keep them contained and keep them from being as messy. All you do is the way it's woven. You can look up the directions on the internet, but basically you just pull the string and pull off as much 550 cord as you need, and it keeps it in a nice tight pack, so it doesn't get, so you don't have like a mess of spider web in your bag. Again, sewing kit if you need to make small repairs on clothing or what have you. Have a simple multi-tool. Again, don't know necessarily what you might need, but if you need a multi-tool for something, you've got it. Also have a pocket knife. Put these back in here. Along with that, I have basically it's a roll of some duct tape, and I just all over an old ink pen spool. I basically rolled a mess of duct tape on here to compact it. This is actually the Gorilla Tape. For minor repairs, if you have, say if you're trying to shelter in your vehicle and you have a window cracked or a window blown open, you can actually tape a piece of plastic or something over that to improve your shelter. I also have some surveyor's tape. This is bright orange. What you can do with this is, again, with your hiking poles, or take some sticks in the ground, but cut strips of this off, tie it off so it flutters in the wind and gets people's attention, because this is not a natural color. You don't see this color out in the woods, or especially out in the snow, and if you have a bunch of these on sticks fluttering in the wind, it's going to get somebody's attention. One of the other things I have in here is a little tin, and this is basically a fire kit, labeled fire kit. And inside I have a small zippy bag, and what this is cotton balls that have been soaked in Vaseline. These are basically fire extenders. If you fluff one of these up and light it, it'll take a spark from a ferro rod. It'll take a match real easy. But what this does is help extend the life of your tinder. Start your fire, make your tinder bundles, put some of this, fluff it up, and you can strike it with a sparker, you can strike it with a match, and it'll actually act as a candle. It burns off the Vaseline, and it'll also kind of extend the flame to help your tinder start. Another thing is, this is Vaseline. If you happen to be out in the winter and you start getting chapped lips or start getting windburn or whatever, you can actually get some of this on your fingers and put it on your face and what have you to prevent that. Inside the fire tin, I have a Bic lighter. These are not all that great once the temperature gets below freezing, but you simply warm them up in your hands, and then once the temperature of the fuel warms up a bit, then it'll light just fine. An alternative is I have wooden matches and a book of matches, and this is all sealed in a little zippy bag. And I also have a fire striker. You can take this with one of the knives, scrape it down, and it'll actually throw sparks into your tinder bundle. Again, if you have one of these cotton balls fluffed up in your tinder bundle, sparks will hit it and you've got fire. So this is all if you need to, if you've got access to wood, fuel source to burn. You can build a campfire that'll be seen. If you need to purify water, if you need to boil water, if you need to melt snow. But it's there, so it's an option. Last but not least, in this pouch, I have a notepad. What this is good for is you got pens, markers, pencils, and this is actually just a little notepad. I actually make these up myself, but just a simple notepad. And you can start with writing down, if you're in an accident or what have you, you start leaving notes, start writing notes, writing a log of what time it is, what happened. Just kind of keep track of what's going on. It'll help you out. And then if you have to leave the vehicle, you can use these and you can leave notes with it. So if they do come across your vehicle, you can leave a note saying, this is what transpired, this is what happened, I'm leaving at such and such a time, I'm heading off in this direction. And you basically leave a note for whoever finds your car. If you have to leave, you can leave a note and then have them find you. Also good for starting fires. So within that, I've got, like I said, I've got a couple different pens, permanent marker, and when all those fails, a good old wood pencil. So that's in this pouch. Okay. And again, I'm going off of my checklist. Again, this is what's in the pouch. On the back, I have some notes and what have you. So we'll do what's in the main pouch, and then I'll kind of go over what I have here. Again, the main pouch is huge, so you got all kinds of stuff you can put here. First thing I've got is I have a steel water bottle. These are great if you need to, again, like the metal cup, if you need to melt snow or contain water. These are great because you can just take this and put it right next to the fire, right in the fire, and you've got hot water. If you need to boil water, you can fill this up, put it next to the fire, and let it boil away. Don't boil water with the plastic cap on it. Might explode. I have, in this main pouch, I've got a survival candle. This is basically a 3-wood candle for emergencies. This is great if you're in your vehicle and you want to add some heat. You can light 1, 2, or 3 of these, and it'll add just that much more heat inside your vehicle or your shelter. Burn time, this says 12 hours with 1 wick. So you kind of want to keep an eye on how much you're using and what have. The other good thing is because it's got a metal lid, when you want to put it out, you just snuff it with the lid. I have a food pouch inside the main compartment. And what this is this is MREs. If you've never experienced an MRE, count yourself lucky. But I've also added some other things in here. So in this package, this is basically a drink mix package. There's some chicken bouillon cubes, some tea because my wife likes tea, apple cider, there's coffee fixings in here, some instant coffee, some sugar. So you can set and boil up water, use your cup, make some coffee. Inside the pouch I have, inside the MRE rations, I basically have 2 entrees, two packages, the spoons to go with it. Also comes with a accessory package, salt, pepper, some creamer, some sugar, peanut butter, shortbread cookies, which are crumbs. What do we have in here? Snack bread. The other things I want to talk about are these. These are MRE heaters. They usually come with every pack. And basically you can heat up your food by adding water. Just follow the directions. You take the food pouch out of here, put water in here to the specific line. It'll start smoking, or it'll start steaming. You put your food pouch inside the bag, and the whole bag goes back into the cardboard box. Set this aside. I would recommend setting this outside of your shelter or outside of any enclosed space because A, these do not smell that good, and if you read the vapors that come out of here, this creates hydrogen. Hydrogen goes boom, just ask the Hindenburg. So, and also you can use these MRE heaters along with a beverage bag that comes in some of these, and here you just fill this with water, insert it in the heater the same way you would a meal pouch, insert that in the cardboard, let it heat up, and then you've got hot beverage water. Won't boil it, so you can't use it to purify, but you can use your water that you've already acquired to make beverages. These don't taste that good. They're not the greatest flavor in the world. The point being, these are calories. Um, if it's cold, these eating food will help your metabolism kick off, and you end up with that metabolic heat. So you're generating heat, body heat, just by digesting food. That's where these come in. So sit down. If it looks like it's going to be a while, set your shelter up, procure your water, sit down, have a nice hot meal, just kind of get your head in the right spot and figure out what you're going to go from there. But again, these will help keep you warm strictly through metabolic heat. So we'll put those back. MREs, as a general rule, they're expensive, but they have a shelf life of freaking forever. But you can basically break them down. This one just has, like I said, 2 pouches and the different meal accessories I threw together. Let's see. Okay. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Now, another thing I have in here is a reflective safety vest. This one, if you're out and around your car, you want to be seen, especially if it's snowy. This will alert other drivers that you're there in low visibility. If you're not actually out in the car, you can take this and hang it on a stick or whatever, and again, get that visibility out there so people can see you. Further down in the bag, this is simply a raincoat, I believe, with a hood. Again, you can layer this over your other clothes, keep your other clothes from getting wet in the snow, what have you. You can also use this if you're in a situation where you need to block off a window, or you need to block off something or other, say a hole in a window. You can put this over, you can tape it down and improve your shelter. This is a large trash bag. Basically, it's just a contractor's bag. You can use it for, again, sheltering, sealing up holes. Other thing this is good for is you can make a rain poncho out of it if you need to. If you're in a place, if you had access to dry leaves or stuffing or something like that, you can always put this around your feet and fill it full of stuffing and try to retain some of that body heat. And last but not least, inside this particular bag, this is just a Gerber machete. It's another chopping implement, basically for harvesting wood or what have you. Not real fond of this particular style, but again, in one of those situations, the best knife to have is the best knife in the world is the one you've got on you. So she has this machete, she's got a tomahawk, she's got 2 knives on her other field kit, and that'll go a long way. Okay, so last I want to go over some different things. First off, if you do end up off the road or in the snow, if your car is operational, if it won't drive but it still runs, you still start the engine, you can use your vehicle to use the heater in your vehicle to heat up and improve your situation. Always make sure that your exhaust pipe is cleared. Make sure you're not getting any blockages there, because that's just going to back right up in the car. Carbon monoxide hazard. A couple other things to think about. In wintertime, extra boots, if you've got them, throw an extra set of boots in the trunk. Cat litter, if you get a cheap bag or a cheap bottle of cat litter you can keep in your car, that'll aid in traction control. You can even use put a little bit of cat litter in a sock and throw it on your dashboard to keep your windshield from fogging up. One of the things we do have in our kit in the car is we do have a snow shovel. We've got a small collapsible snow shovel. Hand warmers, if you've got more hand warmers, you can always fill up on that. Candles, Um, Another thing to think about adding, which is something I may add to this kit, is a roll of toilet paper or paper towels. Um, Another thing you can do is if you get like a cheap cooler, if you put your water in like an igloo cooler, it'll resist freezing for a lot longer. Um, and last but not least, I'm just going to go over some of the stuff I have, some of the notes on the back of this. Went over I have on here discussing the notebook about how to leave notes, what your plan, what your phone number is, how to use the marker tape and vest to make yourself more visible. There's a note here, right dead center, highlighted, remember to drink plenty of water. Don't try to conserve it. Don't try to ration it. If you have water, drink it. Trying to conserve water and spread it out. If you've got the means to make water, if you've got snow or a water source, go ahead and get that started, but drink your water. You'll be in a dehydration situation before you even know it. So always try to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. We've got the notes discuss using the candle kit, using the metal cups or the water bottles to melt snow. I have a note discussing how to operate the MREs, how to heat your food, and how to not use that heater inside your vehicle. Again, instructions on using the hatchet, using the fire kit. One of the things that's kind of overlooked in a lot of places, you see all these images of people with their space blanket and they've got it wrapped over top of them. They've got all their top covered. One of the things you want to make sure you do is put insulation and one of those space blankets under you, because in the wintertime, most of your heat's going to go out through whatever's touching the ground, the convection. So if you're sitting in a car, make sure you put some padding under you. If you have to build a shelter, make sure you've got plenty padding. If your car's wrecked, rip out a seat and throw the stuffing down or make a pad out of the stuffing. But just get something to separate you from that cold ground. And again, using the blankets and using the trash bag, using the first aid kit. So basically, if this is the first thing out, this will give you all of your inventory and all of your notes for how to use various things. And I've tried to set this up so everything kind of has dual use. But if you have any questions or comments, this will be posted on YouTube. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and questions, comments, feedback, I'd be glad to hear it. Again, this is just starting out. There's a lot of info out on the web, different sources, to really refine what's going to work for you. So other than that, I'm Griff, and this is the kit. Thank you.